Hi everyone. We'll be starting the program preview right on time in few minutes. Meanwhile, I'm just setting up a live stream. We basically it's fantastic to have you on board. We have an interesting session lined up just for you. We'll be talking more about full stack development. Meanwhile, I'll just give my introduction. I'm Rasha Khan. I'm your host for today's webinar, and I'm joining from Bangalore, India. And we would love to know where are you joining us from. So you can basically drop us a hello on the chat and give us your introduction on the chat here. And also wishing you a very happy new year, folks. Hi everyone. I see a lot of introductions have started coming on the chat here. That's great. Thank you for joining on early. I see a lot of new folks also joining in. I see Kamal has joined us from Bangalore. I see Shruti also has joined us from Bangalore. Preeti from Belugi. I see someone saying hello. Would love to know your name as well. Uh, and I see Prince has joined us from Liberia and also is currently studying at IIT Madras. That's great. Good to have an IIT Madras alumni. We will be starting right on time. Meanwhile, we are just doing quick round of introductions on the chat here. So once again, I'm Rasha Khan. I'm your host for today's webinar. And I'm joining from all the way from Bangalore, India. I would love to know where are you joining us from. Please do let us know your name and where are you tuning in from on the chat here. So it's always good to network, right? These events before we start the session. Oh, I see a lot of new introductions coming in. That's great. So we'll be talking about how you can steer your full stack development career ahead in 2024 and also taking you through the program preview of IIT Madras Pravartak. I see a lot of new introductions coming in on chat. I see Zaheen has joined us from Afghanistan. Harsh has joined us from Haryana. And Feroz, hi to you as well. Would love to know where are you joining us from. I see Asif has joined us from Sri Lanka, Beka from South Africa, and Kriti from Bihar. I see Sobilili has joined us from Nigeria. Please correct me if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. Azhar from Nepal. I see Kiran as well. Hey Kiran, hi. We're starting the session. We're just doing a quick round of introductions on the chat here. Before we start the session, let me just quickly take you through a few ground rules we have, which are very easy to follow and also have been made basically for to be able to have a comfortable webinar experience here. So if you have any questions for our speaker, Professor Madhu today, who has already joined us, you can put down your questions in the Q&A box. And we will be taking questions from the Q&A box because as you can see, there's a high chat volume basically happening on the chat box. And it'd be really hard to basically go and check out your message. We might miss it there. So that's why the Q&A box. So where is the Q&A box? The Q&A box is located just right beside your chat box. If you're joined from mobile, laptop, desktop, you can easily find it there. And the session is being recorded. In case you want to go through the session recording once again, in case you've missed anything, so please don't worry. We can expect a follow-up email with the recording link and the webinar certificate. Also, to request a proof of attendance for this webinar, you need to enter your full name in the post-webinar survey. And also to get the webinar certificate. So the post-webinar survey will be happening once the webinar on Zoom ends. If you're joined from mobile, laptop, desktop, a Zoom webinar, post-webinar survey will pop up immediately, where you get to enter your full name, which you would want to see on the certificate of this webinar. For that, you will have to stay till the end. I will also help you answer any questions about that towards the end. So please don't worry in case you're not able to understand it right now. As I was speaking, I see a lot of new introductions coming in on chat. And also, as we can see, AI has already entered the chat. So please do not click on that link. I'll just quickly just remove it as well. So yeah, it's sort of a spam. So please don't worry about that. Let me just clear up the messages here so it does not bother you folks. So I've done that. It should be okay now, folks. You can continue with your introductions. I see Deepak has joined from Rajasthan, Ritesh from Gujarat. I see Samir has joined us from Jharkhand. So good to see a lot of folks joining from different parts of India and also different countries as well. So please keep introductions coming in, and also wishing you a happy new year, folks. I hope your new year is to a great start. This program is powered by Simplilearn, world's #1 online bootcamp. We have been in the digital training space for almost the last decade, and we basically have been transforming life by empowering people via digital skills, and we are very proud of that. We have categories comprising from AI, machine learning, data science, business analytics, cybersecurity, cloud computing, and many more amazing categories which we cover through these courses, programs, and tie up with these amazing universities. We have advanced over 5 lakh plus careers in over 150 plus countries, and we have 800 plus qualified trainers and much more as we move on. So we'll start with the agenda of today's session. We'll be getting to know a little bit more about you, how we can help you out in your career better. And we will be answering your questions also towards the end of the session. And we'll try to take as many questions as possible during the session as well. So please don't worry about that. We'll be talking about full stack web development careers in 2024. We'll be talking about the top full stack web development job roles and its responsibilities. We'll be talking about what this program offers by IIT Madras, Pravartak, and learner outcomes. We'll be sharing. We'll be taking through the enrollment steps of the program, and as I mentioned earlier, a special duration for the Q&A part. So as we start, okay, I think we are getting few introductions on the chat here. So again, like once again, would like to introduce you folks to the agenda here for folks who have just joined right now. So you can see we'll be getting to know a little bit about you, how we can help you out better in your career. Just a second, folks. Just a little technical glitch I'm facing. Meanwhile, please keep the introductions coming, and I'm loving your introductions on the chat here. So please do that. Just allow me just quick 2 minutes to fix. Yes, I'm back. So thank you so much for having patience. Was just facing a little bit of technical glitch here. I see the introduction is still coming in. I see Aryan has joined us from UP, Divya from Andhra Pradesh. So thank you so much, folks, who'll be basically continuing with the session. So as I mentioned earlier, we'll be getting to know a little bit about you. So let's start with a quick poll here. So as you can see on your screen, how many years of experience do you currently have? So usually we see a lot of folks who join us come from different set of experiences. Some are studying, some have 0 to 3 years of experience, some have more than 5 years of experience, even 10 years of experience as well. So you can see four quick options on the poll here, where you can see currently studying, second one 0 to 3 years of experience, third one 3 to 5 years of experience, and the last one more than 5 years. So as we're speaking, I see a lot of you folks have already started sharing responses for the poll here. That's great. Meanwhile, I see a lot of burst of introductions still coming in on chat, so that's great. Please keep the introductions coming in. It's always good to network, right? These events before we start. I think I'll just give 10 seconds more for the poll here because most of you have already voted for the poll. So this is just to understand. We usually get a lot of folks joining from different set of experiences. So just a quick poll to know a little bit about you before we start the session. Awesome. Last 5 seconds for the folks who are still basically responding to the poll here. So how many years of experience do you currently have? Last 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let me quickly end the poll and also share the results with you folks. As we can see, 52% of the folks who have joined us are currently studying. 32% of the folks who have joined us have 0 to 3 years of experience. 12% of the folks who have joined us have more than 5 years of experience, and 4% of the folks have 3 to 5 years of experience. So it's really good to see a diverse set of folks joining in, and also joining us from different parts of India and also different countries as well. I see introductions coming in on chat here. As we move on, I would like to introduce you to our uh, speaker today and IIT Madras faculty, Professor Madhu Sudanan Bhaskaran. First of all, Professor Madhu would like to welcome you and thank you for taking out the time for this program review of IIT Madras Full Stack Development Program. And also wishing you a very happy new year, as this
Thank
is
you.
one of the very
Welcome, everyone.
first webinars of Simplilearn as well this year. And we would love to know a little bit about you for the crowd here. Would you like to give us your introduction?
Okay, so hello, everyone. I'm pretty good to see a lot of youngsters, a lot of people from different countries. So I have about 30 years plus experience. I've been on the research front, work predominantly in defense and aerospace, industrial automation, biomedical engineering. So I've been working in AI for the last 15 plus years. And I've been into multiple algorithm engineering, multiple patents, have about 25 plus research papers. So this is about me. I have a passion for teaching. So I teach in BITS Pilani and IIT Madras. So this is about me. Thanks, Rasha.
Thank you so much, Professor Madhu, for your introduction. It's a pleasure to have you. As we start, we will start with talking about careers in full stack development in 2024. Before we start, let's talk about how does full stack development basically the web gets built by it. So maybe let's talk about that before we even talk about careers in full stack development.
Yeah, so let us address two things. The first thing is we are talking of chat GPTs, right? And you keep seeing, GPTs, machines will replace humans, which is not the case, right? The second thing that you keep hearing across is, the Scrum process, the Agile process, where you build small modules in a very short period and then take it forward. That is the second part. The third part that I would like to say, since almost 85% of you are freshers, software is different from writing a lab program, right? You write a program, you write a small application, build a, you give some input, it gives you an output. It does not become a software. It is just a program. So there is a huge difference between a software and a program, right? So somewhere when you come out of college, or if you have just come out of college, maybe you need to unlearn and relearn. Unlearn a little bit, where you look at each component as a subject. You might have your web technologies subject, you might have your data structures, right? But what we need to understand is how do we consolidate all this so that your program becomes a software. That is that is something which we'll try to address. Now, when we say full stack developer, this is something which goes hand in hand with agile methods of building software. Agile methods, what do we do? We talk of a small module, build it, deploy it, right? So when we say small modules, build it, deploy it, we are talking about the user interface where the client or the customer enters the data. I need to worry about the security. Then the data comes to the backend. That means where the server is located. You have some business logic there. Yeah, you would have done this Fibonacci series, whatever it is. You have some business logic. And that business logic is executed. Maybe something is stored in the data, something is read from the data. And once this is done, it is the output is given back to the user. Now, when we talk about the front end, of course, you'd all heard of HTML, CSS, Bootstrap, JavaScript, right? And more recently, React, AngularJS, Vue.js. Right? That is something which gives the user experience. We call it as the user experience. Then I have the backend. So I have the front end, I have the backend. Somewhere in the middle, I have something called as a model view controller architecture or model view template architecture. We call it as the web framework. All different terminologies being used, right? So I'll give you a simple example how, and no, it is something which is the de facto industry standard. If you're trying to build a software, you require a web framework, and that is also part of full stack development. Now you cannot say, hey, I'll specialize only in HTML, because we are talking of agile teams which looks at end to end. Now when we talk about this web framework, it initially looks very overwhelming, it looks tough. But I'll give you a simple example. You are building a beautiful house. You're building a beautiful house and you forget to build the main door. So you have walls on all the four sides and you don't have the main door. How do you enter your house, right? Everybody makes mistake. I am building a software, I am building a great software, I somewhere forget to have the main door. I build a beautiful bedroom and I don't put a window. Typical, right? This looks funny, but this is the truth in software development. This is something which we typically see. This is where your model view controller framework helps you to take it forward. The web application framework helps you to take it forward. And it is also part of FSD, and that is also part of MERN. Express.js will take care of that, right? So web frameworks is something typically you don't learn in your syllabus. You don't learn in your syllabus, but that is critical, because the front end has to talk to the back end, and in the process you have experts who have built solutions which says, hey, this should have a door, the house should have a door, right? The house should have a roof. If you forget the roof, it could be a security component. And it is the same thing as having your roof open, right? If the security is compromised and everybody is able to log into the system, imagine the payment gateway, everything collapses. It's like your home without a roof. So full stack developer talks about all these components. It talks about the front end, it talks about the middleware, it talks about the backend business logic, and it also talks about the connectivity to the database. Okay. When we talk about agile teams, we build something which is very small, incremental build up, and you start integrating everything together. Right? You are building a house, you have the carpenter coming in and working separately, you have the plumber working in separately, you have the mason working separately, right? They all do incremental work, but at the end of the day you have something called as a house. Now The difference between software and program, let me give you some examples. I'll give you two examples. One is from Amazon, the second is from Indian Railways, which you'll all be able to understand. People from India will understand IRCTC, but I'll give you the Amazon's this thing. Amazon has about 32 million products in their website. 32 million products, imagine, right? Now you start searching something, right? You would have done your bubble sort, you would have done your quick sort, you would have done your heap sort. Imagine you're typing something and the data and the system responding in milliseconds. There is enough research to say when the delay, when there is a delay because of the software, maybe you're using React, instead of using React you use JavaScript, whatever you use, because of that delay of the architecture of the software, right? A delay in 1 second can, if there is a delay in 1 second, overall Amazon loses millions of dollars, right? So Amazon does about 1.4 1.5 billion dollar sales, and they ship about 1.2 million products. That means so many invoices are generated. 1.2 million divided by 24 divided by 60 minutes divided by 60 seconds, then you see how many concurrent connections have happened. You need to ensure that everything is okay, right? This is software, right? This is one part of it, which you look at it globally, look at it from the holistic picture. Let us take another example. People who are not from India, India has the largest railway system in the world, right? So we started computerizing it. Long 25, 30 years. I also worked in a small part of it. Now you look at a train, right? Your train, what does it have? It has an engine. It has 20 bogies, 25 bogies, and trains were traveling at 40 kilometers an hour, or say about 25 miles per hour 30 years back. Today we are talking of trains traveling at 120 kilometers per hour, or about now 90 miles per hour. I'm just giving you miles and hours. It could be a rough you know, conversion. Now look at this. If I have a train running at 100 miles an hour, or 120 130 kilometers an hour, and if there are only 10 people in the train, if there are only 100 people in the train, is there a chance that the bogie might come off the track? Might happen. Am I right? There is a method to the madness. Who is going to give you that, right? If I look into that, how is it you're going to do that? This comes from domain. This is where ChatGPT cannot replace you. This is where ChatGPT cannot replace you. Maybe I'll just share my screen. Can I have a screen share, Rasha?
Sure, sure.
I'll just
Just
give you
one
an
second. Yeah.
understanding.
Let me just check. Yeah, you can go ahead and share your screen.
Yeah,
Let me stop sharing.
yeah, thank you. So now let me quickly share my window. Right. Here you are able to see something called as the operating manual for Indian Railways. You see about 165 pages. It tells you all the rules, all the business logic is available here, right? ChatGPT cannot help me here. ChatGPT cannot help me here. So understanding the domain, understanding what is the problem, what is the data available, what is the business logic, right? Now imagine when it was 30 years back, front end, what was that? There was no mobile phone. So you built something, you had a very bland interface, you had a very bland interface. Then what happened? People started using it. Internet was very slow. Then it became 4G, right? When you have a Tatkal booking, Tatkal is a special type of booking where where the window is open for 30 minutes for people who are not from India, right? And in that time, you try to book a train ticket. Now, festival season is starting. 13th festival starts in South India. I'm staying in a hotel room somewhere in west of India. I have to go back. Now my challenge is, I've already booked my flight, but if I'm traveling by train, no train tickets are available. Only a few tickets are available under a scheme called as Tatkal. And during that period, 15-minute period, people from India also can understand this. 1 million people try to log in to book about 30,000 tickets. In a 15-minute window period, 1 million people log in. And people who have used IRCTC Tatkal 2 years back would have seen it in a different scenario. Now you see it in a different scenario. Now it is fast, right? Now what is happening? Your railways, there is a business logic which tells you how to put across the passengers in a bogie, in various bogies, so that the train does not derail. We also talk about emerging. That means my business logic, which is in the server side, is not going to change, whereas my user interface keeps changing. We are talking of React, we are talking of Angular, we are talking of so many technologies which make my life simpler because my user experience is great. This is about full stack, right? The front end might change. Tomorrow it could be brain computer interface. Tomorrow it could be you'll be able to see the screen in your hand. You'll be able to see the screen in your goggle. And if you are building, organizations want to move there, ChatGPT is not going to help them. It is humans who understand the problem. They understand today I have a web-based system, I have a mobile-based system. I have to go for something which can be displayed in my spectacle. So technology keeps changing. Now, what is it we have understood? One is the data. I opened up and showed you the PDF file which is available in the public domain as how railways has to operate. They have the rules. They have the rules. And this is where the business logic comes into picture, right? So when we look at this, full stack development is the way to go. The future is going to be full stack development on one side, and of course you also embrace generative AI, right? FSD plus Gen AI is going to be success. I'll talk about Gen AI as we move forward. Thanks, Rasha. Maybe I just gave a quick intro. uh,
Yeah. Thank you so much, Professor Madhu. That was very interesting. And I think everyone would have this question, is ChatGPT or AI going to take away my job, right? So you have explained that pretty nicely. FSD is full stack development. Kirtana, I hope that answers your question. So now we have talked about what exactly full stack development is and how exactly it works, and also how you can embrace Gen AI or ChatGPT, right? We'll be talking more about that, but let's talk about top full stack development job roles and their responsibilities, Professor Matu.
yeah, thank you. So now, when we talk about full stack development, what you need to understand is there are two ways to look at it, right? One is jack of all, master of none. That could be strategy one, where that is great for an agile team. If you're working in a startup, you may not master when it comes to if you're trying to handle millions of records. The second is you start exploring yourself, because when you want to do a job, you should love to do the job. Whatever the job should never be stressful to you. And there is a lot of no logic for that. Psychologists have studied this. There are a lot of things where you try to see whether you're right brain, left brain, whether you're more of a conventional person. There are a lot of things that you can understand. There are psychometric tests, but we'll not talk about it. But what is important for you to do is you should enjoy it, right? You love driving a car, you enjoy driving it, right? If you don't like to drive a car, you don't drive. Simple as that, right? Or you hate driving. What happens when you sit on the car? Your blood pressure goes up. Now maybe as youngsters this may not impact you directly, but as you grow older, 10 years from now, right, when you have your family on one side and you have your job, and if you feel you don't like driving a car and you're a car driver, imagine the pressure on you. The same thing happens here also. When you look into the full stack role, you start understanding your strength, where you're comfortable, and you can start specializing. And there are people who are jack of all. You can know. So there are two ways to look at it. When you look at a full stack developer, right? Companies are looking for people who are good in all, Or companies also look for people who have specialized. It could be only on express.js, it could be focusing on routing and the model view controller architecture, it could be only the front end. You might be highly creative, you love painting, and you are able to create beautiful screens. In that case, you still work on the front end, but you should be able to coordinate with the backend team to state, hey, this is what is happening and this is the data I'm sending you in Ajax or JSON format, whatever format, and you need to do receive this. These are the process that needs to be done, right? So the backend team, you understand what code they have done, but maybe you're not doing the coding of the backend person. The backend team takes it forward. Alternatively, you might be a person who is very good in database. You might be someone who is very good in database. You're finding that you're good in MongoDB, and from MongoDB you can get into other databases, Postgre or MySQL or whatever, Oracle, whatever it is, right? So it gives you a starting point. It gives you a starting point for taking it forward. So full stack development is going to be the future, because in an agile team you should be able to communicate and understand what your team member is doing. It could be a team of 4 or 5 people, right? Each sprint might be a couple of days, and in that you should be able to understand the role of others. You should be able to handle others, the others will be able to handle you, right? That is what a full stack developer does. And in this, when we talk about full stack developer, the classic is LAMP, Linux, Apache, MySQL, PHP. They have been around for about 25 years. Then you have WAMP, XAMPP. They were the foundation. Then came MERN and MERN. MongoDB, Express, right? I'll not use the word Express.js. I'm just saying Express, React, and Node. Right. When we look at this, Node is the backend. So Node is equivalent to your Python, Node is equivalent to your Java, Node is equivalent to your PHP. Right. So Node takes care of the business logic. They are built great to take care of the business logic. React is the front end. Now, mean stack and MERN stack. Today we are talking about MERN stack, MERN. R stands for React. The front end, we use React. There is one more tool called as Angular. Then it becomes a mean stack. But mean stack has a very steep learning curve. MERN has a React has a lower learning curve, and it becomes a very good starting point, right? So we have various advantages, which maybe if time permits, we'll talk. So we have MongoDB starting for M. E stands for Express.js. That is the middleware. It is called as the model view controller, or it's called as the web framework. It helps in communicating between Node.js and uh, my React. So I have React, I have Express.js in between, which will ensure that I have my door in my home, I have the roof in my building. Then I have my Node.js, and on the backend, I have my database, MongoDB. And once you're able to learn one database, it is very easy for you all to take it to other, other databases. Absolutely not a problem. And once you build and deploy a software, there is going to be continuously monitoring it. You have small bugs, you try to develop on the you clear the bugs and you upload it. This part becomes the DevOps process, where you look at the continuous integration, continuous development, where you ensure that the backend works seamlessly 24 bar 7, and updates are happening also simultaneously. DevOps is good for people who are very good in databases, and understand cloud technology way better. I'll talk more about it as we go forward. Next slide, please. Right. Then, of course, you can be a technical lead. This is for 5 years plus experienced people. 5+ years experienced people. This is you're always now if you have joined this session, maybe somewhere you're working on one particular technology, or you're in quality assurance, or you might be in tech support. You want to get into full stack development. That is very much possible. When we talk of technical leads, your capstone projects will help you. I'll also tell you how to alter the capstone projects and work additionally, so that it looks good in your resume. Maybe a couple of minutes later. UI UX developers are the guys who work on the front end, right? You are building a website for college students. They want something which is very lively, right? You are building a next You are building a front end system for corporate people. Maybe to me, I look at something which is very plain and bland, but I want maximum information there. I don't want something to be bold, highlighted, fancy colors, right? So this is something UI UX developer talk about, and this is where React, you work with React, you understand React in detail and try to utilize it so that the user experience is excellent. And when we talk about React machine, my chat GPT is give me the code. The stupid thing will give me the code, right? GPT, I'll not use chat GPT, then it becomes proprietary. GPT gives you some code, any donkey can do, use that. But but you are the guy who's making the screen beautiful, right? You are the guy, you are the person who makes the screen use beautiful, and there are a lot of techniques for that, which maybe you'll be learning, which you'll learn in due course of the course. Next slide, please.
So yeah, thank you so much, Professor Madhu, for taking us to the top job roles in full stack development and the responsibilities as well. We'll be talking more about full stack development and also introducing them to the IIT Madras program as well. We have started getting a lot of questions about the program and few career path questions as well. We'll be taking them pretty soon. So please put down your questions in the Q&A box, folks. Meanwhile, basically you have joined the session because you are interested in full stack development. We have talked about the career paths here. We have talked about the skills required. We have talked about the responsibilities. You're here because you're interested in full stack development. So, what exactly is stopping you from becoming a full stack developer? So, you can see a quick poll launched on your screen. Now, this is to understand what exactly is the biggest challenge you're facing when it comes to pursuing a career in full stack development, and basically what exactly is holding you back. And we would love to understand the challenge you're facing. You can see four options here. This is a multiple choice poll, so you can select multiple options because there can be multiple concerns here. I'll just read out these options for you. And as I was speaking, I see a lot of folks have already started sharing the responses. So we have gotten a really active set of audience here. That's great. So reading out the options here, what are the challenges you can choose from? The first one here is I can't find a program with a fully comprehensive curriculum. Second one, I don't have the practical exposure I need to become job ready. Third one, I find it difficult to learn from pre-recorded videos. And the last one, my work schedule won't allow me enough time for learning. And as I mentioned earlier, that most of you folks have already started sharing your response for the poll here. Now, if the poll does not cover your response, what exactly is your challenge or your concern, you can let us know in the Q&A box. You can raise your question there as well. And we can basically answer that towards the end of the session when we have a Q&A session that time. So I think most of you folks have already shared responses for the poll. So I think I'll just give last 5 seconds for the folks who are still sharing responses. So what exactly is stopping you from becoming a full stack developer? Last 5 seconds, folks. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let me quickly end the poll and also share the results with you folks. As we can see, Professor Madhu, we have gotten 46% of the votes for I can't find a program with a fully comprehensive curriculum. And another 46% of the votes for I wouldn't get the practical exposure I need to become job ready. 29% votes for my work schedule won't allow me enough time for learning, and 24% of the votes for I find it difficult to learn from pre-recorded videos. So thank you so much for sharing your responses. I think
Please
Professor
do not
Mundhan
close
has.
the poll. Yeah, please do not close the poll. I just like to have a look at it. Yeah, please carry on. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. So basically, this definitely gives us an idea what exactly are the challenges, and also please do let us know on the basically Q&A box as well. So let us quickly introduce you to the Professional Certificate Program in Full Stack Development, MERN by IIT Madras Pravartak. So here, this program comes with a comprehensive curriculum with an industry-aligned learning path. You get access to integrated case studies and hands-on projects for practical experience. For someone who does not have any experience in full stack development, that definitely helps. We'll be talking more about that. What projects, how exactly it helps. Also, there are pre-recorded videos, but definitely there is a huge amount of online live virtual classrooms that basically takes place here with a good peer and instructor interaction. The program duration for this one is of 6 months, so you can just complete it by giving 10 to 15 hours per week. Especially for when we saw a lot of you folks who have joined us have are working professionals. So this definitely will be flexible to fit your lifestyle schedule with the amount of hours, like 10 to 15 hours you're supposed to give per week. Now, Professor Madhu, just I'm pretty sure they have this question. I just want to ask a question from the audience's end. Like I think the biggest concern also we saw in the what exactly is stopping them, what is the challenge, is the pre-recorded videos, right? So as we can see, this program by IIT Madras provides online live virtual classroom with peer and instructor interaction. Can you tell us what kind of interaction happens in this online live virtual classroom? How open it is? What kind of environment it is? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, okay, sure. No, okay. So when we're talking about pre-recorded videos, right? See, it's basically a one size fit all. That is going to be very difficult, right? We call something as a bell curve. We call it as a Gaussian curve. That is what a teacher is capable of doing, right? Yeah, I might be teaching in IIT Madras. I've taught in BITS Pilani. I've taught in other colleges. I go on lectures. What do I do first? First thing is I try to understand the audience. I always tell the audience. Now we have about 120 people or 100 plus people, or it is being streamed. We have multiple people. What do I tell the audience? If I am wasting 1 hour here, your total wastage is about 200, 300 hours. Man hours is lost, right? If I am not able to help you in any way, at the end of this session, if you are not learning something, then it's a waste of time for you. And time is very precious. So your pre-recorded sessions, the biggest challenge is it is not designed, it's a one size fit all, right? That really does not happen. You go to a shirt no shop, you just don't pick up a shirt. You find out your shirt, you say 36, 38, whatever it is, you find the right fit. That right fit can happen in the interactive sessions. That is where top teachers come in and they try to clear your doubts and also understand what could be the best path for you. And once generally when they form groups here, it is peer groups who are all of the same type. That means, you're all just freshers who form a group. Everybody has the same concerns. It becomes very easy for us to take it forward. So we call it as a bell curve. The teacher teaches in such a way that I was giving you the example when I teach in IIT, it could be, it is something which you may not understand at all. It might be very tough because it will be highly mathematical. I'll be talking about, time complexity, space complexity, drawing mathematical models. Whereas I go to a engineering college, I have to adapt myself such that at the end of the session, most of the students, 93% or 95% of the students have understood, and this can come only from live sessions. Right? That is the biggest challenge that you see when you go for pre-recorded session. Point number one. Point number two, when we are talking about curriculum, we understand from where does it come. Somebody writes a program, we look into research papers, we understand by experience, we understand the software flow. So we say, hey, if I'm going to build software A, if I'm going to build software B, right? I'm building a software for a retail company, I'm trying to build a software for e-commerce, I'm trying to build a software for a scientific research. We try to understand what is there in the basket, and that is what becomes your curriculum, because we have the experience in deploying real time, we understand the challenges, and that becomes the curriculum. That is where the industry and the institute experience helps, right? So that is something which can help you when you're looking from a peer mentored course, right? So anything I missed out, and
No.
coming to the poll, I see people saying I don't have time. I don't believe in it. You should make time, right? When I did my engineering, there was only one computer in my entire campus. I joined that college because it had a computer. I learned more on the valve tubes, not transistors. And today I'm working on large learning models. I'm doing research in LLMs, Gen AI. I write research papers. I'm patenting. I'm 53 years. And I have an IQ of 100. I have an IQ of 100. Everybody, and no, everybody has an IQ of 100, right? So if I can do it, you can definitely do it. I'm just an average guy. I'm
Mhm.
able to do it. You will be able to definitely do it. Find time. I enjoy WhatsApp. I enjoy. I'm not in Facebook and I don't know LinkedIn. Whatever it is, right? I have my school group, college group, family group. I am very disciplined. I look only at specific times. I have two WhatsApp accounts. No, maybe one with Rasha. Rasha calls me. I know it's on a business call. She's not going to call me for fun. There's other fun group. I spend 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Every day morning, as soon as I get up, I always learn something new. I get up before my family gets up. I try to learn something new. It could be something on carpentry. It's not software. It's something which I love. I'll say today I'm going to remove my car bonnet and I want to do some service. I look into the videos and I try to do that. I am learning, right? That is something which you should develop from the beginning itself. Youngsters, don't say don't I don't have time, right? And that is where it becomes very interesting that you love your job. Today I love, right? I'm somewhere, no, I'm not in my office, so I'm in my hotel room. But I just came to the hotel at 6:30. I had back to back meetings, no preparation. Only thing I asked is, hey, am I presentable? That's what I asked Rasha. Am I looking presentable? That's all, right? It is the love. I have not prepared anything. I am just looking at the poll and I'm advising you. Got it? So founder and CEO, somebody said I am a founder and CEO. Excellent, excellent. Take it forward. Take it forward, right? Um, Learn. You are the boss, so you should know what is happening. I have a startup. I know how to sweep the floor. I know how to do the coding. I know how to get business. Period. Right? So that is something which you should understand. Learning to code. You cannot say I am a CEO. I'll not code. Only the CTO should know. Not necessary at all. You can do. Love your job. Right? Scope for ECE, mechanical, civil. Definitely yes. IQ of 100. That is what I say. If you are in BCom, BSc, if you have an IQ of 100 and you know that you have a passion for coding, you can do it. Practice, practice, practice. Fail, fail, fail. That is the mantra. Failure,
Totally
failure.
agree. Totally agree with that. And Professor Madhu, definitely. I think age is just a number, staying curious and always learning, like that should be the motto. Definitely agree with that. And also, when we basically study something or learn something or we're working, it's not just 5 years or 10 years we're going to spend there, right? We are going to spend our entire life working on that. So definitely stay curious and stay learning. And that was definitely motivational. I think I saw a few comments coming on the chat as well. So thank you for motivating everyone here. And as we move on, let's talk about what exactly you'll be getting from this program, uh, including an amazing faculty like Professor Madhu. So here you'll be getting IITM Madras Pravartak Program Completion Certificate on full stack web development. And also you get to attend a 2-day campus immersion at IIT Madras Research Park. That's optional. It's up to you if you want to. You get to create your own Git portfolio to showcase your skills, build interactive and user-friendly applications that provide a smooth and dynamic user experience. You get to build dynamic apps using MongoDB, Express, React, Node.js for seamless end-to-end web development. And also, I think someone asked if I'm eligible to take up this particular program. So here, you basically need to have a bachelor's degree with an average of 50% or higher marks. You may have a non-programming background, that's totally okay, and are not required to have a prior professional experience. So, as we saw, a lot of you folks were currently studying or are in the starting stage of your career. So, that's totally okay. You can definitely take up this program. Now, let's talk about how this program prepares you. So, we will be talking about the live demonstration of the learning environment. Meanwhile, Professor Madhu would love to know if you have an access to the learning environment which you can showcase right now, or
Uh,
maybe.
no, since I'm traveling out now, I've not opened it. But
No
let me
worries.
briefly explain it to you.
Yes, yes, sure.
So we have something called as a learner management system. We have something called as learning management system, LMS. Now, once you log in, you will be able to see pre-recorded videos. Pre-recorded videos are something that is part of your course. Then you'll also be able to see the recordings of the the live course. That means, if a professor X is teaching you, you'll be able to see their recordings if by chance you have not been able to attend the class, right? So there you'll be able to see the coding done, the doubts being cleared. Of course, we always recommend you to join all the classes, live classes. That is something which you'll be seeing. Then you'll also have a link for a online programming, right? You'll have the environment set. You will have the environment where you can just join, and you can write your basic code, execute the code, whatever you're learning in the class. It is something that you can see, right? Then you'll also see the capstone projects. You'll be having the projects where a problem statement is given to you and you try to solve it. And that is a place where we also encourage you to take up your own problem statements. Now I saw a person who says, I'm a founder and CEO. Take up one module. Take up one module you for which is going to be, which you are going to use. Give it as a capstone project. We will be able to evaluate you and tell you what are the gaps. And for people who are more than 5 years experience, do not reinvent the wheel. 5 years, 10 years experience, you try to focus on your experience and see how that can be built on to the full stack development. You might be in banking, you might be in insurance, you might be in finance. Identify problem statements, and then you can try to do a project based on that problem statements, and we as evaluators will be able to judge and tell you what could be, what is it that can be done to improve the entire system.
Thank you so much, Professor Madhu, for taking us to the learning environment here and giving us a little overview of what exactly happens in the learning environment of IIT Madras Full Stack Development Program. Now, let's also talk about quickly how the program builds their development skills step by step. I think we can start with the induction for the Full Stack Development MERN program. That is where it takes place. And I think maybe you can take up from how building a foundation in MongoDB is important as the initial steps of the program.
So, see, when we talk about MERN stands, I was talking about LAMP. MERN stands for MongoDB Express, right? MongoDB is a database. It's called as a NoSQL database, right? You look at your Excel sheet, it is in a very structured format. We call it as a SQL. Whereas if you look at NoSQL, we have formats like XML, JSON. MongoDB follows a pattern called as JSON. Don't worry about it. Okay, that is something which you'll learn. Why is this important? You build us great software. After 6 months, you need to add a new module, in which case you want to change the database. Right? In a large project, if you want to change even a single variable in the database, a single, or you want to add a variable, the approval will take about 2 to 3 weeks. Everybody tries to understand what is going to be the impact. It's not an academic, right? It could be involved billions of dollars. It could crash the system. And there are software where if it crashes, every minute or every 2 minutes, the organization loses about $1 million. Right? So we have MongoDB, which is extremely rugged. It can work in a distributed environment, which you'll learn. We have Express.js, which is your middleware. It is called as the model view controller architecture. It connects the front end, which is your React, with the back end, which is Node.js. Node.js will talk to the database, right? So we'll be start off with the foundation of MongoDB, how to create a table, how to create a database, how to create a table, how to optimize the table, right? How to update a table, how to delete a table, how to trigger an event. Okay, all this is something which you will be learning in the foundations of MongoDB. Then we'll be getting into the front end, React, where you need to understand the use cases. A client might come and tell you, I don't want to build an Android app. I want the solution which can work in my mobile phone, which can work in my tablet, which can work in my laptop. And we also have a display system, 65-inch display system. We want the same software to be shown everywhere. How do i how do i ensure the user experience is great, right? When you're seeing in the mobile phone, it should neither be small, it should neither be large. The Goldilocks principle. When I'm looking at the 65-inch screen, Again, nothing should be large or small. How do I do the layout? That is something which you learn in React, right? JavaScript is slowly dying. Is slowly, no, but they are the foundation. It is like your 8051 or your 8085 processor. They are the foundation. You will never stop learning JavaScript. But the application of JavaScript is slowly coming down. It is Angular, React, Vue.js, which is making waves because it can adapt to anything. You have a high definition TV, you have a 4K TV, you have a QHD TV, and everywhere the immersive view will be the same. That is something what you learn in React. Then of course you learn data structures. Now I was talking about scenarios like 1 million people accessing the server simultaneously. You should know how to optimize the code, and for that you need to understand the time complexity, space complexity. I'll give you a very simple example. All right, we are running out of time, but now I'll give you a simple example. Now I have, let us say I have 10 shirts with me, and I love 3 shirts. I can ask you, what are those 3 shirts? Write a computer program, right? You remember your combination problem, ncr, n factorial divided by n minus r factorial into r factorial. So 10 shirts, 10 factorial divided by 10 minus 3 factorial, because I love 3 shirts and I'm asking you which are those 3 shirts. 10 minus 3 factorial is 7 factorial multiplied by 3 factorial. So 10, 9, 8, 3, 2, so 120. You have 120 combinations. So if I have 10 shirts and you ask me, if I ask you which are the 3 shirts I love, there are only 120 combinations. But we go to a mall, I see 100 shirts, and I say I love 30 shirts. 100C30, right? Instead of 10C3, now it has become 100C30. You have 10 to the power of 25 combinations. You have 10 to the power of 25 combinations. 10 to the power of 25 combinations, I take up the entire Amazon data centers and use a force brute method. It is not going to give me a solution immediately. It will take maybe 1 year or 5 years or 100 years. I need to optimize it. That is where data structure comes into picture. This is something which you learn in school or college, but no, here we try to apply it practically. And of course, Express acts as the gateway between the front end React and the back end Node. Node takes care of the business logic. Express takes care of the door or the roof, which I have been talking about. The the roots and things like that, which will when you join the course, you'll understand more about it. Of course, then you have the capstone project. We will give you some standard projects which will help you understand the end-to-end solutioning of a full stack developer. But you are also welcome to come out with your own project ideas, and we'll ensure that mentors are there to evaluate. Thanks, Rasha.
Thank you so much, Professor Madhu, for taking us through the steps here, how this program basically builds their development skills here. Uh, Also, let's talk about the electives here, the academic master classes for full stack development, deploying a MERN application, which we have talked about earlier, and generative AI master classes, something also provided by the program here. The electives are completely optional. They come as a part of the program, so you don't have to pay anything extra for that. It is up to you if you want to take it up. And as you move on, you get to master in-demand tools, libraries, and platforms here. We cover a lot of these tools, libraries, and platforms here, starting from Git, JavaScript, HTML5, Express.js, MongoDB, which we have talked about, Docker, which we have talked about earlier, React, Jenkins. I think a quick question here, I think we have gotten from the Q&A box for someone who basically is just starting off. How do they build their skill to next level, like through these does the program cover that? Can it take them to the next level, Professor Madhu?
Yes. See, basically, this program will convert your theory. No, I call it as theory to practice. Convert your theoretical knowledge to practical application by the using the capstone project. Now, if you look at the ecosystem that is being displayed, I spoke about HTML, CSS, JavaScript, React, which is going to give me the user experience. Then I have the middleware, which is Express.js. Then I have my Node.js. Node.js takes care of my business logic, which may not change, maybe for 20 years, 25 years. Today, that is what I tell my clients. The moment I design the database should be usable for 25 years. right? At least for 25 years, the software should be usable. That is what I know. When we build the software, that is what we talk about. That is where Node.js and MongoDB come into picture. Now I have my entire software. It is working beautifully in my laptop, right? Now I see a problem. There are 30 people in my course, in my project, each working on a different models. I said, agile, small teams working on very small product, modules. The technical lead is going to integrate that. So where is that module? I do something which might impact some other person's code. This is where Git comes into picture. It takes care of the version control. Right now everything is working. It's working in my laptop, it's working in my cloud account in Amazon Web Service. I have my version control. Now I have to deploy it. That is where the deployment comes into picture. Now I was giving you the example of IRCTC, 15 minutes 10 lakh hits, and the whole day another 10 lakh hits. That means in 23 hours 45 minutes there are 10 lakh hits, and in 15 minutes there are 10 lakh hits. How do I scale my infrastructure and get it down? Right? How do I scale my infrastructure and get it down? Maybe once in a while, every day I require my lorry to shift my vegetables which are in my farm, and once I move my vegetable from the farm to the market, my work of the lorry is gone. 23 hours 45 minutes, it is just going to remain idle. This is going to cost you, right? Typically I'll give you, my organization last month my bill was about 6 lakhs. We are a very small organization. I paid about 6 lakhs for Amazon Web Services. Possible. So this is where Docker comes into picture. I wrap it, I can scale it up, I can scale it down, right? Docker comes into picture. And of course, I have my Jenkins, which will take care of my user continuous integration, continuous development, which is part of DevOps. You'll be learning all of this, and you try to find your comfort zone. Once you find your comfort zone, that is where you need to focus and keep practice for your success.
Thank you so much, Professor Madhu, for taking us to these in-demand tools and leveraging platforms, which we'll be covering in the full stack development program by IIT Madras. Also, talking about capstone projects, which you get to work on, which we have already talked about, you get to showcase to your future employees. This is definitely for folks who come from a completely different background, do not have any experience to show. These capstone projects get to show that true experience you can showcase in your portfolio, basically to your future employees when you're getting out there after you're done with the program. And also, let's talk about learner outcomes here. So interestingly, the previous classes include learners from excellent organizations and diverse industries. Industries like software product, IT, BFSI, telecommunications, and many others. And companies, they come from Microsoft, Amazon, Bosch, IBM, NVIDIA, HP, Cisco, Wipro, Adobe, and many more amazing organizations they come from. So as we have talked about the skills here, we've talked about the career paths, we've talked about how this program builds your skills step by step in full stack web development. We've talked about the in-demand tools, we've talked about the libraries you'll be covering in this program. We've talked about not only one project, industry project, but many capstone projects that you get to work on. And also a lot of motivation from our speaker, Professor Madhu here today, also how you basically is so passionate about basically teaching this particular subject as well. So we would love to know your interest in enrolling into the IIT Madras Professional Certificate Program in Full Stack Development, MERN, by IIT Madras Pravartak. You can see a quick poll on your screen here, which says, would you like to enroll into the program by IIT Madras here in Full Stack Development? You can select yes to showcase that you are interested in the program, and I'll be taking you through the enrollment steps of the program very quickly after this. Professor Madhu also will need 10 minutes. Is that okay? Like with you, are you comfortable with it? Or do you have anything lined up?
I see a good number of questions in the question answer session. Maybe once you complete, maybe I can
Sure,
answer.
sure. Meanwhile, what you can do is you can also browse through these questions. You can answer them there itself also. Like, if you are able to answer them there, you can type it and send across it there as well. Meanwhile, I take them through the enrollment steps. So,
Sure, definitely.
yeah. Yeah. As you were speaking, I see a lot of interest coming toward this enrollment into the IIT Madras Full Stack Development Professional Certificate Program. So that's great. I think I'll just give 15 minutes more for folks who are still thinking about it. And if you have any questions about the program, you can let us know in the Q&A box, as we already are browsing through the a lot of questions we have gotten from you folks, and I tried answering many of them during the session, but we'll try to cover as much as possible. We're just extending the session by a few minutes more, just for you guys, just to address your queries as much as possible. For folks who have questions about the upcoming cohort of the program and also about the program fee, what exactly are the enrollment steps, please don't worry. I'll be taking you through that very quickly in the next 2 minutes. So please don't worry about that. I'll be introducing that to you. So last 10 seconds, folks, for the poll here, which I see a lot of you folks have already shared interest into enrollment into the professional certificate program in full stack development MERN by IIT Madras Pravartak. So please do let us know if are you interested in enrolling into the program by IIT Madras Pravartak here on the poll which you see on your screen here. Last test set 10 seconds for the poll here before we move on to the enrollment steps of the program and finishing it with the Q&A part. I see that someone is saying that you basically have come late to this webinar. So please don't worry. We have a recording of the session which will be shared with you once the webinar ends. So you can expect a follow-up email with the recording link. And if you want the webinar certificate, please stay till the end for the post-webinar survey by Zoom, which will happen once the webinar ends. So I think, yeah, I see a lot of you folks have already voted for this poll here. So I think last 5 seconds, folks, for the poll. Would you like to enroll into the program by IIT Madras here on full stack web development, stack development? Last 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let me quickly end the poll here. Thank you so much for sharing your interest towards enrollment, which I saw a lot of you have shared interest in enrollment. So that's great. Let me quickly take you through the enrollment steps of the program here. For a lot of you who have shared interest towards enrollment into the IIT Madras program. So once basically you basically have enrolled here, have shared interest in enrollment through us, through this webinar, Simplilearn's learning consultant will be reaching out to you and they will be helping you with following these 3 simple easy steps here. So the step 1 is you need to submit an application at askus@simplilearn.net. And based on that, your application will be going for review based on the qualifications you have, which I've shared earlier about the eligibility part here. And also, based on that, you'll be getting the admissions offer from the learning consultants from Simplilearn. They'll be contacting you and taking you through the upcoming cohort, which you can join. So, the upcoming basically cohort for the program, the schedule is around March or April. We will be basically confirming that once they get in touch with you. And also I'll be asking you when exactly are you planning to enroll as well, just to understand when do you want us to reach out to you. So the program fee for this professional certificate program in full stack development MERN by IIT Madras Pravartak is 90,999 including taxes INR, and the financing options are also available I think someone asked about if there is an EMI option available. So yeah, we do have that. It is for 8,542 rupees per month. And also, just to let you know that we actually have limited seats per cohort. So just to make sure you're getting all the attention that is required when you're taking up this program. So if you have any questions, you can always reach out to us at askus@simplilearn.net. I'll be sharing that email ID after this slide. For folks who have already shared with us the enrollment step in the previous poll here, so we would love to know how soon do you plan to enroll into the IIT Madras Full Stack Development Professional Certificate Program 1. So you can see a quick poll here for folks who have shared interest towards enrollment, which is a lot of you. Folks, so you can see 4 quick options here. Immediately, within 3 months, within 6 months, more than 6 months from now. This is just to understand when exactly are you planning to enroll. So I would suggest someone who basically plans to immediately join the upcoming cohort. You can select the first option. If you're still not sure when to start, you can select the last 3 options, which is the most suitable to you. So because we have limited cohorts throughout the year, but definitely this poll will help us put you in those particular cohorts and reach out to you with an admissions offer as well. So I think I'll just give 5 seconds more for the poll because I see a lot of you folks have shared your responses for this poll. And meanwhile, Professor Madhu has been actively answering questions in the Q&A box. So please do check out if you have raised a question in the Q&A box. Please check out if you've gotten a response to it. And let us know if you have any follow-up questions as well. As we are a little tied up on time here, we just extended the session by a few minutes just for you folks. Awesome. I think I see a lot of you folks have shared responses. So last 5 seconds, folks, for who have shared interest in enrollment. How soon do you plan to enroll? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let me quickly end the poll. Thank you so much. Now let's move on to the Q&A part. Maybe a question. I see, Professor Madhu, you have answered most of the questions here we've got in the Q&A box. Would you like to take up any question which has been repetitive, or would you like to answer any of them? Uh, as we are in the Q&A part of the session, we have like 1-2 minutes.
Okay, so no, the first thing is I see a lot of questions where no you have the queries like, should I learn Java? What is the difference between Java and Python? No, should I? No, I would suggest, since most of you are youngsters, take up any stack, right? You might look at LAMP, Linux, Apache, MySQL, PHP. Of course, they are very rugged, they are proven, and you also get jobs there because there are thousands and thousands of old software. But whenever a new software is being built, that means no, if you love to be in the maintenance side, LAMP, older technology is great. But if you want to work on the emerging technologies, then no, MERN are the way to go. Of course, there is the path of Python also. When we talk about Python, we only talk about the backend part of it. We talk about Flask or Django with Python and MongoDB or whatever it is. Front end can be, no, it could be React or Vue.js or AngularJS or my simple HTML. Right? It's a good idea because when we start building a application, we first decide on the stack. LAMP, not many projects are starting with LAMP, but we always start with, it could be MERN or MERN. MERN is being very popular. MERN is also a good stack, but the learning curve is way high. And since most of you are freshers, I would say you start off with MERN. That would be my advice. And knowing the specialization, you can take generative AI because there are a couple of questions which are talking about generative AI. You can definitely take up generative AI, right? So somebody from IIT, I don't know, no, I am not in biomedical engineering, I'm in medical science and technology, but I can tell you that image processing is not, no, you don't have image processing in this course, in this particular course, right? So for image processing, you require a different set of tools.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Professor Madhu, for answering the questions which we had. So for folks, please do check out the Q&A box because Professor Madhu has answered a lot of your questions in the Q&A box. Please do let us know if you have any follow-up questions. We'll be ending the session with the last poll of the session. If you need assistance with enrollment into the IIT Madras programs, you can see quick poll options here. Yes or no. You can let us know by selecting any of those options, which is the most suitable for you. This is for folks who have shared interest in enrollment, which is a lot of you, which I saw. So that's great. And we'll be ending the session with this last one poll. Thank you so much for being an amazing audience. And I, from the enrollment interest we have gotten, I think we'll be seeing a lot of you in the upcoming cohorts. So that'll be great. And as we move on to the last ending of the session, so thank you again, once again, thank you so much for joining. Would like to thank Professor Madhu for taking the time out again and letting us extend it by a few minutes as well to just to address their queries as well. Thank you so much, Professor Madhu.
Yes, sir.
Basically, it was a really inspiring session. Even me listening to you while you were actually sharing a lot of the stories, from your experience as well. Would you like to say something to the folks here before we end the session?
That's it. No, take it up, take a jump. No, don't be indecisive, right? There is nothing called as a wrong decision, there is nothing called as a right decision. You feel you are convinced, jump into it, and no, focus, and you will definitely succeed, right? Don't worry about recession, don't worry about anything. No, just practice, just focus, understand your goals, and you'll definitely be successful. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Professor Madhu. Yeah, so now just to let you know, folks, I think we have questions about the certificate here. So once I end the session now, you will be getting a Zoom pop-up of post-webinar survey where you need to fill on your full name there. You will see an option where you need to put down your full name, which you want to see on the webinar certificate of this particular webinar. So yeah,
Thank you all.
please keep
Sorry,
an eye
I
out for
have
that.
to drop in. I have to
Sure,
drop. I have a meeting at 8:15.
sure,
Thank
sure.
you all. It was a pleasure, addressing you all. Thank you, Rasha. Thank you for hosting me. Thank
Thank
you.
you so much. Thank you so much. We'll be ending the session now. Thank you so much, folks. Thank you, everyone.